This is the Baltimore Annapolis Psychotherapy Podcast. The information shared in this podcast is not a substitute for seeking help from a licensed mental health professional. And now, here's Laura Reagan, LCSW-C, with today's episode.
Hi, welcome to the Baltimore Annapolis Psychotherapy Podcast. I'm your host, Laura Reagan, LCSW-C. As I hope you've heard, the latest book by best-selling author and thought leader Brené Brown came out this week. It's called Rising Strong, and it's a continuation of her work on living authentically and wholeheartedly. Brené describes the journey of her three most recent books like this. The Gifts of Imperfection, letting go of who you think you're supposed to be and embrace who you are. She says this book's message is, be you. And her best-known book to date, Daring Greatly, How the Courage to be Vulnerable Transforms the Way We Live, Love, Parent, and Lead. She describes that one saying, be all in. That's the message of this book. And the new book, which I think is sure to be another bestseller because it's wonderful, Rising Strong, The Reckoning, The Rumble, The Revolution. She describes this one simply saying, fall, get up, try again. As you may also know, I'm a Certified Daring Way facilitator, which means I'm one of the people who has completed the training and consultation process through the Daring Way organization, which authorizes me to offer the Daring Way model to participants in my groups and intensive retreats here in Maryland, as well as with individual clients. I'm very eager to get started in the training for the Rising Strong work next week, so I'll be able to offer the Rising Strong method in addition to the Daring Way model. So look for information on Rising Strong retreats in the winter of 2015 and 2016. I wanted to talk a bit about why I invested in all of this training. I believe in the power of the Daring Way model to help us create authentic connection with ourselves and to use the connection with self to create authentic, meaningful connection with the important people in our lives. It was somewhat of an arena moment for me making the decision to get this training because while I'd read Brené Brown's books, I'd watched her TED Talks and followed other things she was doing, I wanted to really live this work in my life. I loved everything she said in her books, and I wanted to really experience it in depth. Going to the training was an arena moment for me because I stepped out of my comfort zone, traveling alone to a place I'd never been, San Antonio, Texas, for a 5-day training, which was quite an investment for me in time and money as a small business owner. Only 1 month prior to that, I had made the leap into full-time self-employment in my private practice. Before that, I had worked part-time in my private practice, and I worked part-time as a sexual assault response coordinator with the Navy. But it also represented an arena moment because I was going into this training giving myself permission to allow myself to be vulnerable in a large group of fellow professionals, a safe space to be created there, and to reach out for connection from a soul place. Not an easy thing. We learned the model experientially, meaning we learned it as participants in small groups of 11 people. Now, I came into this as someone who wanted to live more authentically, more wholeheartedly, but I was kind of a lone wolf. My perspective was, I don't need anyone, I don't depend on other people, I only depend on myself. In my story, other people can't be trusted to meet my needs, so I make sure to rely only on me. But I sure do love taking care of other people. I would much rather focus on that than on what I need. I was going around trying to tell myself that I don't have needs so I could focus on what my children, my partner, my friends, and my clients need. But it's impossible to keep giving from that depleted place when my own needs are being ignored. And I wonder if any of you this resonates with any of you because I think this is a common experience for a lot of helping professionals. So I was feeling sort of this soul wound, and when I read Brené Brown's work, everything she said about authenticity really resonated with me. Something was out of alignment for my soul, and I needed to get it connected again. And if someone had said that to me at that time, I might have thought it was really strange. In my body, I get it. So it was getting my head and my body connected. In the training, our group of 11 people was able to deeply connect with each person's shared humanity. I don't know each of the group members' stories. I don't know their lives. But it's okay because I've seen that each person there was worthy of love and belonging, and I am too. That part of me which was really questioning whether I was truly worthy of love and belonging was supported and nurtured in this 3-day group intensive. And there were tangible shifts for me which occurred during the group, and more shifts which have occurred as a result of my participation in the experience of the Daring Way training. It gave me a language to use with the other group participants for our shared experiences. There were some measurable differences I can tell you about that happened as a result of my experience participating in the Daring Way. People who know me, especially before the past 2 years, know that I was a huge fan of celebrity gossip for at least 10 years. I really prided myself on keeping up with the celebrity gossip, thinking of it as a guilty pleasure. But really, for me, it was a way to numb myself when I felt anxious, which was quite often. Those of you who do trauma work can probably understand what I'm talking about. It was a way to escape, but what it did was showed me the lives of beautiful people who are rich, famous, and thin, and by reading about their problems, I somehow felt an escape. I would get caught up in their drama, and at the same time I was comparing myself unfavorably to these celebrities I would see on my Us magazine app. It wasn't anything I felt needed to change in my life, but after the training, I just didn't want to know about celebrity gossip anymore, and I deleted the app from my phone. I didn't miss it. I didn't think about it. And it was something that I probably checked 5 times a day whenever I felt anxious to find out, who's doing what and what someone wore to what event and who's getting divorced. And it seems silly now, but I think that was an important shift that came to me from the training because it was somehow feeding into my own feelings of unworthiness. And when I was finished with the training, that wasn't there. I still don't read celebrity gossip now. I just literally have no desire to know about it. Even if I'm sitting somewhere bored and there's an Us magazine sitting there, I'm not interested in picking it up. There was another habit I had that I used in the same way as a way to numb my feelings. I would basically binge on 2 things: wintergreen lifesavers and mini peppermint patties. And anybody who knew me when we lived in Virginia is nodding knowingly. Whenever I felt anxious, I would eat them just one after the other. And even though I knew I was overdoing it, I wasn't in touch with my feelings. I was trying to numb some anxiety that I wasn't really aware I was feeling. So maybe having, especially the wintergreen lifesavers are kind of spicy minty. Having that kind of taste in my mouth is like distracting. So again, after the Daring Way experience, I just didn't want to do that anymore. I didn't have the desire because I was feeling more grounded, more present in my body. I think I was able to regulate my emotions better as a result of the work we did in this group. And that is not something that I came there to work on or that I thought I needed to change. It was just a normal thing for me to overdo it with the peppermint patties or lifesavers, wintergreen lifesavers. And after the training, it was just something I could notice was different about me because we have an abundant amount of peppermint patties and wintergreen lifesavers out for anyone to have at my office. And I didn't touch them. I didn't have one for probably at least 6 months after the training. And when I did, I just had one and it was no big deal. I also have more self-compassion, and that's something that I had never even heard of before I read the Daring Way or went to the Daring Way training, read Daring Greatly. So enough about my experience with the Daring Way. I want to tell you what I've developed. I'm offering a workshop for people who are interested in this work but not sure what it's all about. So for those of you who aren't sure if you're ready to step into the arena of one of the intensive weekend retreats, this is a 1-day workshop which will take place Friday, September 18th from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. in Severna Park, Maryland. I'll offer future workshops as well, but this is the one that's coming up. This workshop is for people who find themselves striving for more achievement, more success, more, but feel empty no matter how much you achieve. People who feel like nothing they do is ever good enough. Constantly comparing themselves to their neighbors, friends, coworkers, and feeling you just don't measure up, even though other people envy what they see as your perfect life. You feel like you don't fit in, but you're afraid to stand out. You have a large number of friends, but you can't imagine what it would be like to have a friend who cares about you as much as you care about them. You want to create authentic and meaningful connections with the important people in your life, but trusting is really hard. You want to dig deeper into Brené Brown's guideposts for wholehearted living. I work with people who put everyone else's needs in front of their own because I can relate to that. Do you ever feel like I always do everything for everyone else and no one ever helps me? Or your story might be something like, I don't need anything. I'm fine. I'm strong for everyone else. I never cry. I'm just worried about making sure my children, my clients, patients, my friends, my parents, siblings, or extended family are okay. But I wish someone would love and care for me the way I do for other people. What if you could love yourself and treat yourself as well as you do other people? So this workshop might be a good fit for you if you're interested in finding out more about the Daring Way, but you don't want to invest in a whole weekend intensive. There are other ways you can work with me. We can do in-person or virtual consultations for self-care. We can meet in person for individual therapy. You can attend one of my in-person retreats or workshops. I do clinical supervision with Maryland social workers. I'm available for consultation on trauma cases. My next intensive retreat is October 2nd through 4th in Severna Park. All the details are on my website, www.laurareagan.lcswc.com. And you can look under either retreats or groups or the Daring Way. The information is available in various forms in all of those places on my website. You can also feel free to send me an email at Laura, Laura, at LauraReagan, LCSW-C.com. You can give me a call. You can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Google+. Thank you so much for listening today, and I hope that it helped you to understand why I think the Daring Way work is so valuable and how you can get involved with it here in Maryland if you'd like to. Or, again, if you're interested in my coaching consults, we can do those virtually. That's it for now. Talk to you soon. Thanks for listening to the Baltimore-Annapolis Psychotherapy Podcast.
Thank you for listening to the Baltimore-Annapolis Psychotherapy Podcast with Laura Reagan, LCSW-C. For more, visit Laura's website, www.laurareaganlcswc.com.